Hello, this is Roland from EPLAN, just trying to see how I can make use of this wire terminal. And we actually have a service here, wireprint.com, that allows us to actually pre-produce the wires automatically, so transform your EPLAN data into wires. So the whole idea is actually calculated here, but I'm going to show you in this video how you can proceed with your EPLAN data and hand it over to this service here where we will actually prefabricate the wires. So let's take a look at this. So sometimes we may have the wire, sometimes we may not have the wire. How do we check this out? So in our case, we actually use the Lab 416 dual norm. So what I typically do is here I create a filter for everything that is not a cable. So representation type 3D and DT identifying without project equal to nothing, and you get access to all the wires. Now I then sort by wire gauges first, I sort by color, and then I can actually go and pick whichever I have. So let's say we start from the top here. We have a few different wires here. I'm going to go with the 14 gauge, which we have here, down to the, well, let's start with even those ones, 10 American wire gauge, which we actually do have. So properties global. What we do is we go and pick here the part number and we exchange it for its equivalent that we have on the machine itself. So here as the wireprint.com, which is this one here. So we are looking at gauge 10, and gauge 10 is of course kind of the bigger one here. This is gauge 12, gauge 10 is a 6mm, and lab 4160701. So this assigns the part number, perfect, just assigns it down. Now it starts over, of course, it resorts the whole thing, and now we have all the black 18 American wire gauge all together here. Let's take those ones and let's take a look. Now, it happens that sometimes you do not have that particular wire. I can see here these are power wires that are used, and I could use actually the 16 gauge. I don't have the 18 gauge, and it's just going to be a little bit bigger here, wireprint.com. And I go with the 1.5, which is this one here. So 1.5mm, 16 gauge, and black. So it's going to be assigned like this in one single step. And always properties global to make sure that you assign this part number to both sides. Right? 6mm square I don't do, 2 I don't do, 14 I do. Right? I don't have too many here. So obviously, let's see if I sort again by the cross section. And here color, see what that gives me. So we can go down. We have a few 14 gauge here that are there. Perfect. And we can assign. There we go to properties global. And you do this pretty much for most of these wire gauges that you believe you do have here under the WT setting, which basically what it did is the supplier was set to be the WP wire print. And now we just have 14 gauge. 14 gauge is 04, 05. We wanted black. There we go. We just go 14 gauge black. Assign 14 gauge black. We assign it. Assigns the part numbers. Happy. Done. This is what you do basically for all the wires. So I'll come back in a few seconds when I'm done. Let me just stop this 2 seconds here. And now that I have the whole thing finished, I will actually upload this to here to my eManage. Now, the way it works with eManage is you typically pick a folder. You say, okay, we are working here on the WT. This is a folder that we can work with, and I'm going to upload the project. So here, as it's uploading, we're not going to watch it. So I'm just going to pause it 2 seconds. It's uploading. Now that the project is uploaded, I can just go here in the sharing, go to the external, just basically type in the name I want to share it with, and there we go. Just hit the apply button, and it should be good. Thank you. Bye.